Think of a player approaching a serve as usual, only to send the ball flying into the stands. Or a team celebrating after scoring a point, only to discover that they had committed a mistake. Volleyball is not only an essential test of physical abilities, but also an amusing spectacle when we realize that the greats are prone to slip too. Awkward and funny moments seen on the court range from misjudged serves to hilarious falls, and they lighten the mood of competitiveness. Without further ado, here are some of the hilarious and uncomfortable moments in the history of volleyball that will leave you chuckling and cringing simultaneously. In this match, the audience decided to entertain themselves. Everyone in the stands behind the first referee started to imitate him and kept copying his actions. Looks like the audience just earned their referee certification. It put up a hilarious display and ended up as an embarrassing moment for the referee. In a match of Czech versus Croatia, Mia Jurkov scooped the ball up in the air. On a usual day, another player would have come forward for a hit, but this was not one of those days. The ball landed on the ground between two players and their coach. For a second, it looked like the coach might hit the ball, as he was baffled that no player was coming forward to do the job. When the coach said he'd step up for the team, no one thought he meant it literally. In this hilarious but painful moment, the volleyball player was looking to hit the ball running, but he only succeeded in hitting the net. He gave it his all, and the net gave it right back. Both him and the ball ended up hitting the net, and he fell on the floor in a way that did not look good for him. One of the most epic do not celebrate too early moments was seen in this match. The players thought the ball had found the floor on the opposition side, and they started celebrating. They didn't see the precise pancake save by the opposition and were busy celebrating when the ball returned to their side of the court. Pro tip: always double check the floor before your victory dance. This moment was probably the most embarrassing in the match of Ireland versus Bulgaria. The Bulgarian player got ready to serve, tossed the ball up in the air to jump and serve. What he didn't realize was that he ended up tossing the ball into the court instead of upwards. He didn't just miss the serve, he started a volleyball bloopers reel. It made him look like an amateur and probably haunted him for years. In this match between Argentina and Japan, the rally was going smoothly. The Japanese side was defending amicably. Then came a moment of absolute embarrassment. 2 touches were done and the third player jumped high to spike the ball powerfully. The only problem was that he had misjudged the direction of the ball terribly and the ball found the floor. It looked like he truly needed to get his eyes checked. Some moments are unbelievably funny for us, but terrifying for the players, and this was one of those. In this match between Ireland and Serbia, the Irish player was getting ready to spike the ball. Though instead of jumping, he only succeeded in putting up a display of flailing arms and legs. He had embarrassingly tripped instead of leaping. They say volleyball's about footwork, he just forgot the work part. This was one of the great displays of defense from the Australians against France. The setback, however, came from the French side. The Australian player sent the ball back to the opposition side with a spike. The French players had plenty of time to get under the player, but the lack of communication ended up resulting in their failure. The ball reached only to find the floor as both players moved away at the last second. It turns out their teamwork was so good, they both agreed to do nothing. This was definitely one of the funniest points scored in volleyball. Canadians were leading the match and the set, but they made a mistake nobody imagined they would. The ball returned to their side of the court, and instead of hitting it, the players ended up catching it in the crook of his arms. New rule: if you can't hit it, hug it. The Canadians couldn't believe what just happened, and the Turkish players celebrated the bizarre but much needed point. A lightning-fast block was witnessed in this match, and the Finns players definitely didn't see it coming, especially Kerminen. His teammates spiked the ball to send it into the opposition side, but the Dutch players blocked it immediately. Kerminen didn't see the ball coming, but his nose sure did. The ball ended up hitting him right in the face, giving the point to the Dutch side. In this match of Japan versus Germany, Nishida showed just how brilliant he is. The rally was going smoothly and the ball returned to the Japanese side. For a second, it looked like Nishida left the ball to hit the ground, and many were thinking how he could make such a mistake. But instead, he was displaying just how brilliant he is by making the decision in the split second, because why waste your energy playing when you can score a point by just letting go? The ball fell outside the line, giving the point to Japan and embarrassing the German players. In this match between Germany and USA, the American player executed a jumping spike but couldn't stop his momentum. He was falling right into the opposition side and he asked his teammate to help him. But it ended up being a hilarious moment as both players slipped and fell. It turned out to be the ultimate assist, helping your teammate hit the floor. One of the most embarrassing moments ever. This team did not see the epic saves by the opposition and thought they had scored the point, but that was not the case. The opposition sent the ball back into their side of the court, but they were busy celebrating in a huddle. Turns out their celebration had more energy than their defense. It turned into an extremely humiliating moment when they realized what had happened. In this match of France against Poland, the Polish players served right out of the court. France earned the point and the Polish side was left deeply embarrassed by what happened. The rally started with the serve and the other team is expected to play the ball. But this turned out to be the least expected thing to ever happen, as the players of the opposition team did not even move an inch to get the rally going. The ball was ready to rally, but the players were ready for a nap. It ended up being one of the most humiliating moments for the players who looked like they were in a stance. Sometimes the coaches are left feeling absolutely embarrassed when their team makes a stupid mistake. This was one of those moments, as the Belgian players epically miscommunicated and the ball ended up on the floor. Their coach could not believe what he witnessed. In a match between Brazil and Serbia, the Brazilian player decided to spike the ball downwards instead of sending it into the opposition side. A spike so sharp, it cut straight into their own embarrassment. Serbia earned a point and the Brazilians were left feeling like they would rather bury themselves 6 feet deep. It looked like this player forgot how to play volleyball. After an amazing save from his teammate, he was looking to pass the ball over his head, but he only succeeded in making a fool of himself. Instead of hitting it with the power required, he just touched the ball lightly. It looked like he thought that when in doubt, just play volleyball with yourself. This resulted in the ball going just inches up and falling right into their side of the court. In this match of Russia versus Slovenia, the Slovenian player made an unbelievable mistake. Instead of passing the ball to the player in front, he ended up hitting the ball in a way that it landed behind him. Looks like somebody needs to tell him that it's better to aim forward, not for your own bench. His teammates couldn't believe what just happened and the Russian side happily celebrated their point. In this women's volleyball match, this team thought the rally had ended and was celebrating their point, though they did not see the kick save by the opposition and failed to notice that the ball hadn't found the floor at all. They were too busy partying to notice the game wasn't over yet.